I'm Jay Hurt, relationship coach and COO. Welcome to my channel where we talk about charisma, confidence, and winning at life. Let's talk about 3 charismatic ways to approach a woman, part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, click the link here to learn how to use your charisma to approach a beautiful woman. So we're going to talk about 3 ways today, right? So the first thing is listen intently. Use her language when you respond to her. So listen closely to what she says. Use the type of language that she uses in response. So when I say use the type of language, I mean the type of words, the phrasing. Repeat things back, right, periodically. That way you connect, right? Because people like to hear their language coming back at them. Also, when you're wrong, it gives her an opportunity to correct you. When you're right, she'll confirm it and there'll be a connection in that confirmation. Also, when you're listening intently, use nonverbal cues, right? Nod your head, smile, right? Do those things to let them know during the conversation that you are paying close attention and you're truly listening intently. So the second thing is to display curiosity. First thing, I want you to work to learn as much as you can about her in the conversation. So when you talk to her, be truly curious. Don't be concerned with things that are not relevant to the conversation, right? So if she's talking about, what she does outside of work and she has a hobby and she likes to, paint pictures, right? She's into art. Maybe you'll talk to her about what her muse is. Maybe you'll talk to her about, does she use watercolors or does she use a specific type of paint, right? Whatever that looks like. Really get curious to learn as much as you can about the things that she's interested in, because when you show you're interested in her, she's going to show that she's interested in you, which is my second point around curiosity, right? So when you're interested in people, when you're talking to someone, ask them questions about the things they love. And another little side point here, a side note is, so we often say, what do you do, right? We want to find out what somebody's work is. That's an American thing, right? We jump into what do you do? Here's something that might be a little different. So when you have time outside of work, what are your favorite things to do? What do you really love to do? What do you get joyful about? What do you get excited about, right? And get curious about those things, because people love to talk about what they love to do. So understand that you want to put in the work to learn as much about her in your conversation, and understand that when you're interested in her, she's going to be interested in you. So the third thing is ask open-ended questions to understand them better, right? That's important. So when you're asking open-ended questions, you will allow the woman to respond without yes or no answers, right? You'll give her an opportunity to become more in depth. You'll give her an opportunity to respond with more insight. She'll give you more care about what she's talking about. Her face will light up. The things that she says, there'll be a lot more intent and a lot more purpose in what she wants to share, right? So when you ask a question along the line of, so what do you do in this hobby that you do, right? You love to paint. So I go outside, I get filled in nature, right? Or I may paint people, or I may be into painting animals, or whatever it might be, right? And they'll give you more deep insight. Or you can ask a closed-ended question and say, do you like seafood? And she'll be like, yeah. So what do you do with that, right? Where do you go with that? When you're asking the open-ended question, you give her an opportunity to respond, you give her an opportunity to go deeper, and you give her an opportunity to tell you more about herself, right? Also, a really important component to remember, when you ask open-ended questions that start with how, that start with what, you find out things that you never would have found out initially. So understand that when you're learning more about someone, you give them an opportunity to share all the things about them that they want to share, right? So being confident in your conversation isn't you putting a stamp on the conversation and you running the conversation and trying to dominate it. It's really an opportunity for you to be curious and for you to get more insight and understanding and more depth in the conversation. And that's what builds your charisma. So as we wrap up part 2, let's just flash back a little bit, right? Listen intently. Listen with the purpose of knowing that you're going to learn something different about this woman and that you're paying close attention. Be curious. Really want to know. Like, have a deep level of curiosity. Curiosity is a good thing. I want you to want to know more about her. That's going to help you in everything that you do moving forward. And ask questions that require thought to answer, right? So when you ask those open-ended questions, she's going to have to think, she's going to have to take time, she's going to have to really put some thought into that answer. So check this out. This is part 2 of charismatic ways to approach an attractive woman. So do me a favor, smash the like button, share with everybody that you know, right? And let's chat about this in the comments. Let's talk about it. So I want to know, what are some things that you do? How do you listen differently, right? How are you curious? What are some curious things that you've offered that someone else may not know? Share that in the comments, right? And ask questions that require thought. What's a cool question that you've asked and that has gotten a great response? And what's a whack question that you've asked that has gotten a terrible response, so you can share that as well so we know what not to do also. So I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, this is Jay. Peace.